Good afternoon. So we have decided to go a different route with our irrigation systems. We always used to use anti-siphon valves, which I think we have other videos on. But there's a couple of problems with the anti-siphon valves. One is that you have to have them higher than your highest water feature. So if you're using raised beds or something like that, your anti-siphon valves are really high, or they leak all of the time. And more often than not, manifolds are placed next to the foundation of the house, so you don't want to get all of that water coming out down to the foundation all of the time. So we've gotten away from that. We're doing inline valves now, but we still want all of the features of the anti-siphons. So we're going to start by putting in a water meter. There's a little readout just like your odometer on your car, and we're going to be able to keep track and know exactly how much water we're using each time we irrigate. And this will also let you know if you have a leak, because all of a sudden it's running and your irrigation should not be turned on. That's going to come, it's going to 90 up into a backflow preventer. So we're putting this in so that there's no possibility that any water that has gone out to the garden can somehow be sucked back through the system and back into the municipal water supply. So this is key. We're coming here down and through our filter. This is just trying to keep as much stuff as we can out of our valve so that we're not mucking up the valve, or we're solely using emitter tubing these days, and so we don't want to get little bits of dirt and whatnot into the emitter tubing and clog it up. We're coming into our valve here. We have a pressure reducer here at the end of the valve. You can see here it's coming out at 30 psi. That is what our emitter tubing wants so that it works correctly. We have these wires. There are 2 wires on each valve. This is our irrigation wire, and you can see that it's all different colors. So I have a white one. The white is traditionally the common. So every valve that I hook up is going to have one of these wires hooked up to the common line. And then everything else will have a color so that I can know that, valve 1 is going to be brown and valve 2 is going to be blue, etc. So when I go to wire my controller, I know what I'm doing. Also in the controller, there is a COM port. This gets wired into the COM port so that the controller can read that. There's an app that Hunter has put out that's called HydroWise, and the app allows me to program this controller, and if I get the right plug-in, this controller. And there's good and bad. If you're really like having apps on your phone and you want to be able to follow what's going on in your garden, if you're in Italy and you want to turn off your sprinkler system because you heard it's raining in California, you can do that. Also, because my water meter is wired into my controller, I can see how much water I'm using on my phone. I don't have to come out and take a look at my little odometer here. These are programmable at the controller or on your phone. However, once it's on your phone, the app overrides anything that you do. So if you came up here and wanted to turn down your irrigation for 5 minutes and you switched it here, it would not stick. So that's just the caveat that you have to keep in mind.
The little Y filter that comes off like right here, like right after the solenoid, that having just one kind of more robust filter for all of them means instead of having 3, 4, 5, 6 filters for however many valves, you just have one for the whole system. And now we get only to clean one. It's more compact. You don't have to see so many of these. And so we basically doing this basically like a pre-filter in lieu of doing a Y filter at every single valve. Normally you have to pull the little cover off the cartridge, and this one you can just walk up to it, open it, close, done.
Yeah.
And so you can, literally maintenance is 5 seconds. This one, if it starts getting really dirty, you can still do that, but it needs to be done pretty infrequently. I think these are stainless steel mesh. They're really heavy duty. There's the little filter there.
So the beauty of this is it really does behave like an anti-siphon valve. It does have an air gap right here. So if water were to flow back this way, it would come out the top and it would not continue down. We are putting our valves in with unions now so that if we have a problem with the valve itself, you can just unscrew here. This would be, and then because all of this is screwed in, we'd be able to just unscrew the valve itself, replace it, and put this all right back together.